Hi everyone. I was just struggling to get my phone set up today, so I don't know how much time I can spend right now because I I came with enough time, but I wasn't able to set up the video. But anyways, yeah, these things like the lid and all, the lid has been assembled on both these boxes. The next thing I was saying was we'll work on the drawers, which we'll do because that is the next main task. So but before that we will work on this support. So because the like once we do that, the drawer will have a better idea like how thick the drawer needs to be, even though like in theory it needs to be as thick as this opening, but it just makes more sense to work on this one. But I still want to work on the drawer first. So what I had initially planned for was let me pull up. Was this the one? Probably this one. Yeah. So this one had come from the, is this the one or not? Now I'm a little bit confused. But what I wanted to basically show was this piece and this piece was I had initially planned to come from the same thing. No, I think there was another one. This is what I eventually intended to show. Did I keep the other one? Yeah, I think this is the one I had initially. Sorry. So this had come from the same piece. Like ideally we want this to be here for the grain matching. But having said that, one probably mistake I did was that I, before like ripping this piece, I had like dimensioned this to the exact thing. So you know that when you rip something, it takes an additional thickness off, like the saw curve thickness. So the problem that's going to have is like when we work on the drawer, especially with hand tools, we want this to be like exactly tight fitting, like to fit just inside that, and it's like it should be tight, to be frank. Why we do that? Because once the drawer is made, almost always, like not almost, it's actually always like we end up with a slightly thinner drawer because especially with hand tools, like we will clean up the dovetails, we'll hand plane it to be that takes away like a little bit of thickness, and then it starts fitting perfectly. If we start this loose or like this loose, this is what I didn't like, then it will be, the drawer may be too loose. Could be, I mean, it may just work out or it may be too loose. So that's the reason I decided against using this piece. This is like perfect grain matching. Now I could actually just use that because like this side is like tight, but it's like tapering towards this end. So I don't know, I'm not feeling too confident about this one. I think more important is to get a good fit there rather than the grain matching. It would have been nice to do that, but I wasn't cautious on that one. But have on this one, no, even on this one actually I hadn't had like a piece, but I worked on a separate piece. You see like how tight it is. Like I actually worked on a piece of wood. Now it fits, it's not the grain matching, but I found a piece that is almost matches, and I planed and dimensioned that like with hand, everything with hand, so that it fits this tight. That's what I want to start with, like instead of something that is loose. So I have marked it here, put a triangle here to show that this is how it goes. I want to do the same on the other one. Again, I want this to be approximately half an inch thick. It's a 16th over that, which is fine because I still have to plane the other end. And then we'll work on these pieces. These ones need to be thinner because half lap dovetails, so they need to be thinner than this. So I'll use 5/16 inch. So because I need one, two, the back piece, and also on this one, so I'll show a jig that I use to thickness that thickness by hand. I could take it to my planer, but that's not my point. Perhaps I have shown this earlier on a different project. I don't recollect, but I may have. Simplest, like very simple thing. So it's a 2x4 that I have like actually planed it. Actually, it doesn't need to be square. It just needs to be plain, this surface. And then I have put a couple of pieces of like these two pieces have to be exactly the same thickness. So this is a thicknessing jig, so we want that to be same. So in my case, this is half an inch. Yes. Countersunk and screwed that here, and so that this 2x4 just like comes a little bit out, so easier to clamp. If not, I can clamp the whole thing also. And then these two pieces I have screwed into the side. They don't need to be exact, don't matter at all. They just have to be raised here so that I can use my plane to ride in between that. Now I had measured this for my 5.5 actually, because that gives me slight extra bit of thickness, so that if needed I can use it for a slightly wider board. Also I can fit my Veritas low angle here. I'm just showing it on this one, but I will use the wider plane. I don't remember if I have sharpened my other plane. And then there is a stop here that I have just screwed to the end grain. This is to, like, if I'm planing this, so this goes here. Now these two like are the registration, so it helps with that one. Now what are these? These are just sign plastics, like if I needed a little bit of adjust the thickness a little bit, I put one sign plastic and then it reduces that. I also have like just, this is a around 3/16 of thickness of plywood. Like if I put that, then the remaining height would be, see, 5/16, around 5/16. So I can use this to dimension all the other pieces like for the drawer. So that's my idea. But for now, just want to show how we work on using this. So this side I had already planed. I'm looking at the grain. Put it this way. There's a lot of like thickness to be taken off. So let me first bring my 5.5. I have a 4.5 also, which I could use. I don't recollect if I had sharpened this. Sharp plane is always like essential for everything. This is definitely not sharp. Let me back my iron. This is cherry, so it's still working just fine. But I should be sharpening this. I will sharpen this one in some time. Need to be careful, like there are no debris on this side. They do impact the thickness. Now normally if I hadn't like what do we call it, planed this side, then I would go some distance here, then flip it and take a few shavings from this end, which I'll do actually. It will stop taking any shavings the moment it reaches, see, it's now just going over it. It feels flush from both ends. This is like, I can show my calipers. I used to have a digital caliper which actually is quicker, but the problem with digital calipers is that because they work on a battery, I don't use it too often, and every time I pull it off, like it's low on battery. So I got this. This is an inexpensive eye gauging, I think, the brand, not a very expensive one, because I don't need like a machinist level accuracy. So here, if I measure the thickness, it's so like the bigger scale shows half obviously, and it's like 1/128 over half. If I come here, this thing is tapering, so I would not take from that part. This is also close to 1/128, slightly over that, but less than 1/164. This is 1 by 1/64. This is 1 by 64. That was 1 by 128, sorry. So basically, like for if you're not a machinist, like for hand tools, like this is like a perfect thicknesser, and it's more smooth than, it has already come out like more smooth than I would have got from my power planer. Because even if I reach out like to my power planer, I come back and hand plane it to make it like smoother. So this is what I'm going to use. Let me bring this back here. Now I just have to think like how this side has already been jointed, how I want to align this. Did I plane any end grain yet? No, I don't think so. So I have to, now having said that, this thing may not be like 90 degrees, but I would trust my instincts and I will just or like not instincts, like trust my that I have got it like pretty square. Let me square this end, and then I will see like how much length I want from there. I do have my shooting board, like I had made like per Paul Sellers like idea, which I really like that shooting board also, but I have been using this for all my 90-degree end grain thing. This is way more easier for me to manage. Because like moving the plane this way is a lot easier than having to do this on the shooting board, I feel like, at least for me. Like if I have to do a lot, this thing hurts my hands like after some time. I have to raise it a little bit more because I got it right, but this wood is still doesn't look. I have enough length in there, so I can take out a little bit more. These end grain shavings. So and slowly I am like starting to shift away from my Veritas plane, because as I said, these vintage planes, they work like perfectly fine for me. It's so much easier to hand sharpen these blades than the thicker iron, and harder to hold. I can do that, but it takes me longer. So I'm slowly like getting these. I used to go for my low angle plane for these end grain cuts. It works very nice, but especially because it's so difficult to sharpen, I want to keep my project space very simplistic, and so that's why I've not been using my low angle as much. Now I could go this way, or I could go this way, whichever looks better. I think this one. I mean, in either case, the grain is not matching, so it doesn't matter as much. So see, like it's pretty okay. So yeah, I will put it this way. What I want to mark next is, let me clamp this, otherwise I'm pretty sure I'm going to drop this box. So here, this side, I'm like putting it right up against that. I'll put a small nick here. So what I was basically trying to do is use that as a gauge to plane it. It has a heavy set. Reduce the set, but before that I'm just sighting it and trying to see I am around like 90 degrees. I'm not way off, which seems like I am. The other side is the higher side, so I'm not skewing my plane. My plane is still, I'm just shifting my plane on the other side and taking shavings and slowly keep creeping out towards my side. Perfect. It was way off to start with. Let me tell you that. So, like, it's so easy now, like with practice, to get this accurate. So I had started this way. I'll back off the iron because it was just taking too much. Still taking a lot. Oh, there. I hadn't backed off, like, to take the backlash. This is better. You see, this is like just tightly going in this end. I think I'm good there. So what I will do now, I don't want to go any further. This is perfect. It's just holding it that tight. I would have not, yeah, it's actually perfect. I was about to say that it would have been better if it were like further tight, but this is nice. I took off the Harris because it's okay. So for me, the end result is much less important than, yes, I want the thing to be perfect, but the process and the steps that I follow, that's way more important for me, because if I do that, I will enjoy the entire thing, and I am confident that this will come out amazing. So fits nice. This end there is no gap. No gap meaning like I have like completely put it on that one. Now I will mark on this end. Now everything was accurate, then I could just take it like 90 degrees that way, but I don't know that, like I'm not certain of that. So what I will do is, can I mark on this end if I have to? One more mark. Now I will use my square to see like if they both align. If they don't, I will take the longer of the two. They don't align actually, so I will take a little bit wider. I'm not going to mark it like throughout. That's my gauge. So I want to cut off this piece. This is just the rough cut. It's not accurate at all. I mean, by at all, I mean, I'm still using my miter box. So for me, not at all means it's like close to 90 degrees. But accurate in the length, I meant like, I'm getting like, I removed the bulk of the material and then I will use I'm going almost to that line. I think my line is pretty accurate, so I can like confidently get close to that. That's what I meant. So So I will have 4 of these boxes, because these 2 and I have another 2. I am like, other than maybe gifting 1 or 2, I'm thinking of like selling 1 or 2 of these. Now I hope like someone sees these and the kind of attention I'm trying to give. I'm holding this here because I don't want this to slip off, and then at this moment plane is sharp, so I can just work this way also, like with one hand. It's effortless. Frankly, I could leave it at this, really. It's so close. It's just holding there. I will leave it at this because it's almost there. I don't need to, like, when I clean up the dovetails, it will like go in perfectly fine. So I will just put a triangle here. That's it. So I will work on that one. Let me keep it aside. That single piece, like, I took a lot of time. I may have to edit that in the uploaded video, because I know I don't want people to get bored, but I really enjoyed that part. Now another thing I have to work on. Let me show you what. I'll keep it aside. So I have to get like a base here, like the bottom here, like that will be put here. I have to work on that. Now that needs to be approximately this wide. I will cut that to exactly this thing. So here in my case, it's 1/8 less than 4 inch wide, and it's 16th less than 10.5. So for me, it's that. Now these are like some offcuts from my TV unit project. I ideally want it like maybe a 1/4 inch or a 3/16 inch. Now this thing is a 1/4 inch wide, but it's rough. So by the time I plane it, it will probably be 3/16. And if I just place it here, it fits there. So this is a perfect use. I can bring it. So I have already marked this. This is the side I need. And I have marked this much because I was thinking that this is a free floating thing. So even on the ash, I can use a piece of this one. Just it makes sense for me. In case I change my mind, it doesn't look good, it's a free floating thing. I can pull off and make another one as per the same. Now I have not cross cut it yet because this is a thin piece. It just helps me plane it. Like I can clamp this side and plane this end. And on this one, where I don't need to worry too much about dimensioning, I just need to plane it to smoothness. This is more efficient, the short. This is almost plain. There is I see a little bit of bandsaw mark. That's what I am trying to clean it. Very smooth. Now even if I keep the rough side on the bottom, no one is going to see it, but I want to feel good about it. That's it, nothing much. So I will try to plane it a little bit. This is super smooth. Just the last bit of like low spot from the bandsaw. That's what I'm trying to get rid of. Plus my weekend workout the old school way. So I have this ready. How thick it is right now? Not that I'm worried about that. 3/16 only. Yeah, it's fine. That should work just fine. So same thing I will do just like I did the front piece. This is the same thing. I will make it and I will just register that and see like exactly it's fitting on this one. So I'll make 2 of these. That's what I'm going to work on. I'll take a break. I may not record that part because exactly same as how I was doing on the drawer front. So I will work on that one. All right, see you on the next session.